You can do that. That's the exact same thing.
And the second one was the paint, what you call it, the paint score?
Yes.
One is an event and the other is a function, right? Or do we always have to program that?
What was that?
Your GUI manager got call paint score.
Yes.
One is the event and the other is the actual function that you wrote to respond to.
It's the GUI manager call isn't specifically an event. It's just registering that function we call it every frame. So every frame our engine goes through, everything has been registered and calls them in order of that register.
No, I'm just talking about the syntax.
Oh.
Score and paint score. Those two are the same names, but I was saying are
Oh, I see. I see what you're saying. No, it doesn't matter whether they're the same name or not.
the one that poses the actual paint score response to and paint score is the function that you wrote up.
Correct. Yeah. So later on, if you write a GUI component such as a text input dialog, you want to get to that GUI component by going to paint score / text input dialog, whatever you named it there. So down here with the naming conventions, let me see if I can find it. See, score counter. So if I wanted to get to this score counter, it would be paint score / score counter. And you can keep nesting them like that and keep digging through. So cool. Other questions about this or even just in general? Yeah. The Lua is completely interpreted on the fly. Underneath the hood, our engine actually runs on C++, but you guys never need to touch that. So yeah. Yeah.
One thing I noticed at the very beginning, you were just showing us ground patterns. Is it standard for it to be oval like that and we pattern it, or is it just an object that you have created?
No, the textures, basically whenever a modeler uploads it, he assigns the UVs to the actual model. We just have the texture replaced, so you can just, if the artist wrapped a square texture around a oval thing, then all our function does is replace their square texture with a new square texture. So it just straight out does texture replace.
But because you're calling it ground test, that's just a sample, or can we actually use it to make the whole ground cover?
This actual plane down here, I believe you can drag texture straight onto that as well. And you guys can have your modelers make ground planes or whatever you want. So it's pretty flexible. Okay. Any other questions? In the back. Yeah. Wait, multiple players? Right now, our networking is in kind of a prototype phase. So we don't have active networking. If you want to do a multiplayer experience on the same computer, that's fine. But yeah, right now we don't have networking on it yet. That gentleman.
If you use the builder to lay out duplicative objects,
Mm-hmm.
how would you call this?
So if you have an object, let's say the sky dome here. If you go into the properties, you can see it's named sky. Under the search properties, you can change that name around. If you call cmanager.getObject and pass it a string, it'll try and find that. Cool. Yeah.
If you want to have multiple bubbles, like completely different bubbles, how would you transition from one to another? Would it all be built on the same plane?
Do you want to? Awesome. Did you want to answer that, Mark? Or? Okay, go for it. Sure. Well, you could just do a set keyword and get keyword as well. That's actually a good segue. I wanted to mention something as well that I forgot to mention. We also have an idea of a blueprint, basically. So if you create an object or a group of objects and you want to save that group up to our server, you can do that. If you do save to blueprint, or if you have, I don't have the code on me right now, but basically if you create a level of objects, you can get that list of objects and save it to a single resource and then pull that resource down in. So if you create an entire level in the builder, you can save all those out to a single object and load it. Yeah. Aaron, do you have something to say?
What can I do about the default ground plane?
Oh, the default ground plane is a little bit special. Right now we have a collision plane at 0, 0, 0. If you want to get rid of that, you can call scene manager set ground plane height, and that'll just drop it. You just drop it down to negative whatever if you don't want to deal with it. The original reason it was in there was to make it easier in the builder for putting objects together. But right now the builder, only if you hit drop will objects drop. So yeah, if you don't want to deal with the default ground plane, it's really easy to get rid of. Yeah. Right now, our best suggestion for that is export an object that doesn't have any geometry. So you can export just a collision sphere if you want and use that. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. If the controllers map straight to the keyboard command, then you can set up specific maps to look for, example, WASD versus the arrow keys and separate those. Actual controllers might have to look at which controllers you're looking at, see if those just map straight to keys. So yeah, yeah, it's doable. It's definitely doable. That's done entirely through the art exporter. So your artist will define spheres and cubes, multiple ones if they want. And once it's in the engine, you can't change them around. In a little bit, I'm going to hand over this presentation and show you guys the art importer if you guys have more art questions. That's coming shortly. Yeah. Sound is pretty straightforward. We have a class called sound. If you do sound.new and pass it a file name, it will save that, and then you can call :play on that, and it will play the sound. In order to actually get the sound into the library, under the builder, you want to use the upload file command. So if you click upload file, it will ask you for something. You can select it, and then it'll ask you to name it with a file name. If you hit OK, it will upload it. Right now, sound, we only support MP3s. So if you don't have MP3s, there's converters out there. Should be very straightforward. Mm-hmm. You can change the volume in the code as well. Once you've loaded a sound, you can do sound : set volume, and it'll change that around. Cool. Any other programming questions? Awesome. I'm going to hand this over to Eddie, and he's going to show you quickly how to use art exporters.